What's up, y'all? It's your boy Jaron Ikner back again for another reaction video for Starstruck TV. The artist is Kiyan Foroughi, and he has Substantial and Rachelle Ruby, on this track. The track's called The Destination. So this is my first time hearing this song. We're gonna play it live, react live, and see what this is all about. If you want to get your music reviewed by me, there's a couple ways you can do it. You can email me, there'll be a link in the description, or you can hit me up every Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for the heat check. If you go over to Nero.com/Jaron Ikner, you can find a link that drops every Monday. You can submit your songs completely free, or you can use the skip feature. And I listen to songs for like 2 or 3 hours. So if you're into that, let me know. But otherwise, we're gonna go ahead and get into this track. Let's see what this is all about. Let's take it a listen. Give it a gander here.
I knew who, what on my whereabouts. Needed clarity on what I really cared about. Knowing what I embodied before heading out into the night, where clear mind is paramount. So many stages and studios I forget to count. Sharing food for thought while stopping by the carry out. Now I look deep within before I let it out, and made friends in places that I've read about.
So far, I really actually like the vocal tone that you got, like the way that you're coming on there with the voice. Your voice is really distinct. Now, the rapping is but I like the concept behind it so far, like what you're rapping about in terms of like the topic so far. And you sent the lyric video, so I'm reading along with the lyrics too. I'm feeling this so far. This is pretty dope so far.
When you're living out your dreams and everything you touch ain't really what it seems. Lifting people up by any means is routine. Still following the light despite the darkness you've seen. Most of my life I've been surrounded by queens, so you shouldn't be surprised I live the life of a king. Before who and where it was were the same, I was stripping without an idea on what to bring. Now I know. Now I know. Now I know.
I love the scratching. I think that scratching is really like a dying art in hip hop. Like a lot of artists like aren't scratching, don't have enough scratches on their songs. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that like there's not like a lot of like real DJs nowadays. When I say real DJs, I mean DJs that are using actual turntables, because it's kind of, you can scratch on a controller for sure, but being able to scratch on the turntables is like a whole different thing. So I'm actually curious to know who the DJ was on that, who's doing these scratches. Maybe you did them yourself, or maybe they're stock scratches. But the fact that you're even like maintaining that element in hip hop means a lot to me. So good job on that.
Now I know.
Was always the destination.
Now I know. Now I know.
Was always the destination.
Now I know. Now I know. Who you are is where you are. Yeah. So you were never that far from the start. When they stop looking out, look within, buckle up, yeah. Cause that's where the journey begins. Yeah, it's like the more I seen, the more I see. Went to why not from why me. Transform might be to mighty, not likely to there's none like me. For better or worse, fam, spoon fed my spirit, it didn't get on my shirt. The only thing we dropping is gems and dead weight. Mind in the path as I'm making headway through the urban forest that left me callous.
Yeah, I'm liking like the really deep conscious rap tip that this song is on. Like I feel like that's also kind of like a dying thing right now. Like everybody's trying to talk about like being in the streets and effing baby mamas and all kinds of stuff, but like it's this like where we're just talking about like deep conscious thoughts over authentic hip-hop beats. You know, you got the scratching on here. Like this is like maintaining like a lot of like the real hip-hop culture out there. So this is, like I said, this is greatly appreciated so far. I'm digging it for sure.
Scar when the city lights flicker, they almost passing for stars. I'm writing at the hour when most be chatting with God. When your ancestors call, navigating the fog, never shared experience. It slowly guiding my steps, treading wild waters when I am out of my depth. I have been blessed cause many drowning in debt, but I found self-worth before my value was set. Now I know.
I found self-worth before my value was set. It's actually a really, really dope bar. I think it's something that I resonate with on the level where it's like, that's kind of what it means to be an artist. A lot of time, excuse me, a lot of times, especially if you're trying to be like a successful artist, you kind of have to really know what you're worth before you can like know what your prices are. Makes you kind of think of like Fat Joe, you know, yesterday's price is not today's price. And a lot of that is based off of like your inner perception of how you perceive yourself and how much you value yourself and how much you're willing to exude that and call for that price out into the universe. So that bar hits for me. Really, really dope shit. Keep it moving. Let's go.
No, I was always the destination. Now I know. Now I know. I was always the destination. Now I know. Now I know. I was always the destination. Now I know. Now I know. Always the destination. I was always the destination. Now I know. I was always the destination. Now I know. Now I know. I was always the destination.
I know the truth. I send out the signal. I gotta hear. The voice was pure and clear. The answer is simple. I was always
Used to be lost trying to find myself within the looking glass, stared through a hollow shell, easily looking past the very thing that made me me. Along the crooked path, trauma and eventually peace. Now I'm looking at a man living in this skin, free of a mask that I used to rock way back when I needed a vast shatterproof metaphorical shield and greener grass. When I didn't feel safe or pleased with what I had, the more I was exposed, the more light I absorbed.
So I think what's interesting was the choice to bring in the female so late into the song. Like, she's basically singing like a bridge, but I don't know why we couldn't just use that bridge as part of the chorus, maybe like alongside the scratches, because the scratches are the chorus in this song, which I don't really mind. But then the girl like is like, okay, so there's a girl in here too, and then and then throughout this verse, she's like singing in the background, which I'm not mad at that. I like it. It's just interesting how her introduction is so late in the song, because we're at the 3-minute mark, I think, when she came in at. But yeah, anyways, let's keep listening to some more.
From the people who were shining that I tried to ignore. The cool throw shade, all I needed was warmth. Pray for peace every day, infatuated with war. That's how the streets raise you when your mama always working. You're trying to find your purpose and not a lot is certain. I dove into a rhyme book and conjured up a sermon. Healing from within as I lighten up my burdens. Now I know.
Good pen
Always
game.
the destination.
Now I know. Now I know.
Was always the destination.
Now I know. Now I know.
I was always the destination.
Now I know. Now I know.
now. I know the truth. I send out the signal. I gotta hear. The voice was pure and clear. The answer is simple. I was always here.
So I really like the lyrics of the song. The lyrics go really deep. You know, we're talking about like your purpose, like the song's called The Destination, and like the destination is here, and the journey that we get to be here. I guess it's kind of like saying that we're all basically part of one conscious, one force that we all like derive from, and so the return to the destination is that we always were here. So like really, really good lyrics. I think Rachelle's does a decent job on the singing. I think we could benefit from some more layering on her vocals just to give it a little bit more volume. I also think that like lyrically, like it's very, very strong, but like, I mean that this is like kind of like the crux about like traditional like boom bap hip hop, is that like there's only like really like so many ways that you can approach it like flow wise. And you guys basically approach it like how any other rapper probably would. And so it really comes down to bar quality. And there's some really good bars on here, some really good pen. And so this is a strong song all around. I just think that like, if I were to give any real feedback, I would say bring the female in earlier, for sure. Introduce her a lot earlier. Because there's like elements of her like singing in the background and stuff like that like aren't introduced until halfway through the song. The song is 5 minutes long. There's still a little bit left. We'll listen to a little bit more here in a second. But I think that we can be utilizing her a lot more. That's kind of like my thought process is that like you have this girl who's willing to sing vocals. She does pop up on the second, after the second verse, and then she has another little bridge hook thing at the end. I think that we should be bringing her in earlier, maybe even on the intro, maybe even like on the chorus. I don't know. The song's already out and just started doing the thing. Maybe like I'm thinking this like for future iterations. And I don't know what the circumstances are. You know, there's always weird circumstances sometimes when it comes to making music and doing that. But I like this song overall. I really, really do. I think that it's like, it reminds me of some traditional like late 90s, early 2000s, like boom bap, like hip hop. And the rapping is really strong. It's coming from a good place, really good bars, really good quality theme. I think the theme is really locked in, really tight in terms of like what you guys are rapping about and how you guys are approaching it. This is a pretty solid song all around. Let's listen to the rest of it though.
I was always here.
Who you was, where you are. So you were never that far from the start. When they stop looking out, look within. Buckle up, cause that's where the journey begins. Who you was, where you are. So you were never that far from the start. When they stop looking out, look within. Buckle up, cause that's where the journey begins.
Yeah, like I'm not mad at this song, man. I think this is really good work. I think that, like I said, you locked in on a theme and a concept, and I think that the concept is felt throughout all the efforts put into the song, whether it's the lyrics, the production, even the quality is great. I think, like I said, we could work on Homegirl's vocals and try to like, I think they just need to be bigger. I think we need wider sound because she just sounds like a little bit thin. And some layering would help with like kind of like hitting those notes a little bit better and having some variation in her voice, which I think would help the song quite a bit. Otherwise, this is really solid work though. I think that this is a really good song. Y'all should check it out. It's The Destination by Kiyan Foroughi, Substantial, and Rachelle Ruby. It's out now wherever you guys listen to music. And yeah, if you guys want to have your song reviewed by me, over at Starstruck Multimedia, your boy Jaron Ikner. Hit me up. Otherwise, I'll see you later. Peace.